Hey everyone, Chef here. Welcome back to, shortly, Empirical Sahara, our arid African desert themed zoo. Let's go get into it because we have a couple things to do today. Today I want to take care of the Somali Wild Ass exhibit, but we are also approaching a guest happiness crisis. And I think we're approaching a guest happiness crisis because we're not keeping them hydrated enough. So we had originally planned out where we wanted all of our little rest stops to be. We had roughly 2 habitats between each food court that we had planned. We have one at the front entrance, and then you walk past the Adax and the Scimitar Horned Oryx. You go to the second one, you go the other way, you walk past the camels, and eventually the penguins. And then all the way here in the back, we have one here. But this is proving to be a pretty long walk for guests to stay hydrated, and also these are just slammed with activity. We go into either of these, they're busy, they're busy. If we come over to these two, I would imagine these also. Busy, busy. So there's 2 ways that we can approach this. We can either find another spot for a rest plaza, or the more temporary approach that I think I might take, we may just do a couple of vending machines. So we don't need a big complex, and I don't really want to spend the money on a big complex. So what we could do instead is we could just get a couple of vending machines in here. I think I probably want them to come off the path a bit. But we'll do like a pair of gulpies. And then we'll also do a pair of bins next to them. 1 trash, 1 recycling. And then also, probably about here, we should have another set. And we'll see if this is good enough to keep people happy. Give me something like that, and then also, just to decorate this up a little bit, give me a planter. Put an African planter between these 2. I think I might like the square one a little more. Do not angle snap me. And then can I get a flower? Or maybe just like, you know what? Maybe a non-flower aloe vera. That also kind of looks fine. Sure. Just a little something to spruce the space up, and then I guess you don't need this bit. So let's see if that's good enough. And if we head over to heat maps and we look at guest needs, we can see that happiness is low in this plaza. And that is because they're thirsty. We can see that happiness is low at this junction here. Happiness is also really low along the back here. It's because they're thirsty. Everyone is thirsty. Maybe we need even more vending machines. I may have underestimated just how thirsty people are getting in here. Give me 2 gulpies. Move this over. Give me a recycling bin as well. Head over here to your aloe vera plus planter. Let's make this a group quick. And then I can duplicate it and move it around to a couple different places. It's pretty good to me. And then also we should change the color on this thing. Body paint, I'll have that be lighter. And then pattern paint, we'll have that be a much darker brown. Something like there. So it blends in a bit more with the color palette that we have in the zoo overall. And then we'll go apply those same colors to the other planter. Color editor, body paint light, pattern paint dark. So let's see how that does. And I also need to add these two work groups. So work zone, Horn of Africa guest services. You are now responsible for these 4. Also, apparently I forgot to include the animal talk point. Wait, I have 2 animal talk points for hyenas? We shouldn't be doing that. I can just delete you. And then I can move this over a little bit so that people donate to it when they're doing the little check out the size of a hyena's paw. And then this will just be our 1 animal talk point for that. Okay, so let's get the other ones added. Work zones. Horn of Africa looks good. Work zones. Arid Sahara get services. You can have those too. And then we got to figure out what we want to do with our Somali Wild Asses today. I want this to be a really simple, really straightforward habitat. I do not want anything super complex going on here. I almost want it to look like they are at a farm. So that's going to mean putting together a very simple wooden fence. I want this looking like a post. Can I get a painted square wooden post? I can. So I want this, and then blank. Beam. Board. It's blank. Blank painted. Thin. Thick. What about the decorative strip? I know we're using it a lot. And it's also not flexicolor, which I don't like. It's a little chunky. It's just a little too chunky. We'll try the plank. And I'll take the 4-meter one. So let's see how you do. It's going to be something like that. I think that's the way that we want to do it. This can come down. Yeah, I think that's the way that we want to do it. So let's get these painted up the way that we want them to be. We'll give you like a nice sandy color, and then we'll have you just be ever so slightly darker. Grab all this, add it to a group. Take all of, and I mean all of this. Every last bit of it. Make it null. And then we're just going to rotate this thing entirely around the exhibit. I'm not doing any rock walls here. We have used rock walls in a lot of places in this zoo. This is not going to be a place where we use it as well. You can also be a null barrier. Like, this is a much more natural habitat. This is more natural. This is more natural. There's so much rock work everywhere. I want to do something just a little different out here, and I want it to feel a bit more open. Like you're actually going to a farm. Alright, we have managed to preserve its angle, thank God. So this is going to come around the staff path. We'll have you spin just a little bit out here. And then here you're going to cut pretty aggressively in towards where the guest path is. We'll have room for a little bit of scenery there. And I want to keep a little bit of space between this fence and the path, so I can put in a little curb here, and then I can also put in a little bit of plant. But this is just as simple as this fence is going to be. We're really not going to overcomplicate this one, and then we're also going to use this same fence for the American Standard donkey next door as well. I want those two exhibits to feel like they're basically the same exhibit. So you go over and then you look at the Somali Wild Ass and you're like, oh, interesting, desert adaptations. And then you go and look at the American Standard donkey and you're like, yeah, they're both donkeys. Very interesting. Who could have known? So every once in a while we'll put a little turn in it. So we don't want it to be exactly straight. If it looks too geometric, it's gonna ruin the illusion that this is, you know, a place that is explicitly built into the landscape. Start turning here. It's a little aggressive. Could probably do something like that. Just keep swinging you around. And then here we can straighten out a bit because the path straightens out a bit, but also because we need to get ready to make the turn in towards the staff path right about here. So here we're going to have a pretty aggressive corner. And I want the fence to be very close to the staff path. Unlike the guest path where we're leaving room, I want it to look almost like the staff path goes through this habitat. So you're fine there. But then here we're going to turn in even more aggressively. Even more aggressively. Because this is also going to get us space back for the actual exhibit. And I'm also going to move this gate back, I think. So we're going to have to rename the exhibit and do all of the other maintenance that's associated with destroying the guest gate, or the staff gate, but that's alright, we'll tank it. We may do a little bit of rock work here to hide the fact that that's a generator. Then you can come back to there. We'll also do a wooden habitat gate for you. So you can just go right there. And then we'll get this lined up. Roughly into the hinges. Maybe a little further. Maybe we just do like this. And then we take this post specifically and we move it up a little bit. So it covers the top of the gate. Then we take this and this. We duplicate it. We move it over here. And then we grab plank, but we're going to need a 1 meter plank here. We're going to need angle snap here. Actually, don't. Don't do that yet. I'm going to need to put down 2 or 3 of these, and then I can just adjust the length later. So we'll go like this, 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 and that should be long enough. Split you from your group. Change your color. And then we'll move you into place. So first you need to rotate around. Then rotate around again. And then we need you to fit in between these 2 posts. Right about there is looking pretty good. Line you up with the one on the bottom. And then shorten you. So this one needs to slide in just a little bit. This one needs to slide in just a little bit. And then I can duplicate you up. There we go. Then grab one of these. Rotate it. Get it to line up with these other boards, and then you'll just continue on your journey. Looking good? Yeah, looking real good. So you're going to stop here. And I'm going to put a very small portion of rock here. It's just to hide the generator. And then we'll have a very small length of fence here in the back as well. That is going to accomplish the same function. It's just going to be a little bit that comes out. I guess I should take this thing over here too. There you go. Alright, so just a tiny bit of rock work. Nature, rocks, filters, continent, Africa, biome, desert. Sort by price. Sort by price, descending. Thank you. Give me none of these snaps, but give me random rotation on. Then we only need you to be slightly taller than the generator itself. So something like this should do perfectly. We'll get a couple flat rocks in here to make the transition at the bottom a little smoother. And then we'll do it again with some slightly larger rocks. Just to smooth out the edge that you get when you're placing big rocks with nothing in between. And just a little bit more up here. I don't think the Somali Wild Ass is a very good climber, but I will check traversability after this just to make sure. Clean up some of these joints as well. It's looking pretty abrupt on this side too. We'll just put in a ton of random rocks placed around there. We can flank both sides of this with some trees too to make it look a little nicer. Some grasses, etc. I actually need something on the top of these rocks too. Very flat on the top. How about one of you? How about 2 of you? You're a little extreme. But maybe if I get you rotated right. and then just 2 or 3 over here. And we'll say that's good. Yeah, I can live with that. So now, we'll adjust our null barrier placement again. You're gonna go here. Down to here. Over here. Over here. Over here. Over here. And then 2 here. Here. Along to here. Get rid of this old null barrier. I don't need any of this around anymore. Move you to there. And then to here, and then to here. Connect that. No, that's ugly. It doesn't exactly follow the fence. I hate that. I think there could be weird pathing in there where they might accidentally step out of the exhibit. Here as well. Okay, good on that side. Good on this side almost. There you go. And then that is the modified null barrier for the donkey. I like how this feels very airy. I don't want it to feel like some of the other habitats in the zoo that are very sculpted. I want it to feel a little more... I want it to feel similar to the turtle habitat, where it's just like... it's a spot in the zoo that we just put a fence around, rather than being anything special. We'll make it just a little uneven in here as well. Let's pull some terrain up. Let's get it to be a little hilly. And then I also... we should get a little bit of rock in here. So that this looks like a reason that the fence would deviate in this spot. I don't think it needs to be really tall. It just needs to be like... why would you not bring the fence directly out to the path at this spot? It's because there's a big boulder here. You didn't want to remove it. Something like that. And then I also want breeze block trim. This is going to take a little bit, but I want to make a curb for this path. So we're going to sink you into the ground a little bit. Bring you all the way out to here. Definitely do not random rotate. So I want there to be an extra visual marker that is in between where the fence is and where the guests are. I don't want the fence to be the only barrier. I also want this little brick curb to be a suggestion that, like, you know, hey, don't get too close to the fence. Don't be trying to throw stuff into the exhibit or anything like that. Now, because we're approaching the water feature in the back of the zoo here, the little bit of river that we made, I'm going to start integrating a very small amount of grassland plants. We're still going to use primarily desert plants, but I think we could get a little bit of, for example, buffalo grass in here and have it not be completely immersion breaking. This also gives us room to move this thing off the path. We'll pull you over here, and then the board is going to be here. So we'll duplicate you over one more time. And then we're going to have you spin a hard 90. And it's going to be like a little cutout for the educator section. And then you'll come through like this. Don't need angle snap anymore. We'll keep generally following the curve of the path. Meandering along back here. We'll go out about one more after this. And then come back in. Like there's fine. And then we'll keep going. So it's the kind of thing that is tedious, granted. But at the same time, it's these little kind of small touches that make a section of your zoo feel very special and unique. It's not necessarily advice that's about Planet Zoo specifically, but one of the other people that I watch on YouTube a lot is City Planner Plays, who does City Skylines and City Skylines 2 and, you know, a couple of other games in like the city builder genre. And one of the things that he always says when he's putting together something in City Skylines is you want to take a little bit of time to make each section of your city feel like it's unique, so that everything doesn't wind up being the same old cookie cutter. So this is the same general style of, you know, breeze block trim that we're using everywhere else in the zoo. We're using it at the bottom of buildings. We're using it as a decorative liner in the food courts, in the Arid Sahara section. But here we're repurposing it to have a slightly different shape, because it's these longer bricks that are closer to the ground. And we're also repurposing it to have just a different aesthetic in the way that it's used, where it's a curb path rather than like a boundary marker. So it feels like it's still in the same part of... It feels like it's the same bit of like general overall theming, but it's also still doing its own unique thing. These we can just speed along here. This one probably needs to come in ever so slightly. And you can come back down. About here. And then you can keep going like this. And get your angle snap off. I'm scared to look at how much further we have to go. I don't think it's much, though. It's not that much. Let's just blast through this last section. Also, that was all the... No, you need to add it to the work group again. Alright, finish this and then go rename the habitat, re-add it to the work group, and then you can actually just let the zoo run for a bit. And you can see if you have solved the guest thirst issue. Go. You'll have one more little square cut out here. Get your angle snap on. And then after this one, I think you're done. I don't need to angle snap here. It doesn't need to be an exact 90. It's okay. We would just be adjusting it anyway to match the curve of the path. We're slowly going to turn into staff path, and we'll say that's done. So that is a nice little section of trim. And then if we go into nature, we're going to take Rin grass. For the most part, I think this is going to be green Drin grass. We'll random rotate it. Go down to medium here. Put a couple clumps of it here and there. Especially in these spots where it gets narrow. Maybe get a little bit of dry Drin grass in here. Just gonna mix up the aesthetic. Grab this, put it a few more places. We don't want it to be all green all the time. Good. Give me a small amount of nitrarium. And basically only the small one. We're going to put that in where the grasses are. For the most part. Put that tool And then give me a small amount of buffalo grass. Which is not native to Africa or deserts. But we're going to use it anyway because it's just a nice looking grass. It's just a little bit more full than the drin grass is. So we're going to use it very sparingly. You can mix in some dry grass, even some parched grass with it. This stuff I want to make sure I'm keeping next to the path, because if the donkeys realize that we're using buffalo grass and not drin grass, they're going to be mad. They are going to be so irritated. I'll never hear the end of it. And then take me gardening. Now we go back to Africa, we go back to desert. Next to our learning stations. Let's get a little bit of King Protea in here. Make these appealing places for guests to stop and read about things. And especially at the animal talk point. I don't want to go nuts with big trees out here. I'm kind of willing to say that that amount of growth is fine. I do want this section to feel a little more airy. So Horn of Africa Animal Care. You are added to that. And then your name is Somali Wild Ass. You're not escaped. You are escaped. Alright, well that's fine. You've scared a very small number of guests away. You're not escaped. There you go. You figured it out. That research is done. Good. I'm glad that the rest of my guests don't see people fleeing in a panic and also decide to flee. I'm glad that they're just like, huh, that's weird. And then go on with their day. Should also probably put some small rock work over on that other side too. If I copy this, I would include the trim. I don't want it to include the trim. Stick this thing over here. Sink it into the ground till it mostly doesn't clip into other stuff. It's increasingly looking difficult. I guess that's fine. And then we can get rid of these two balloons. That just looks like a weird bit of fence there, but I'm kind of down with that. And then what's your traversability like? Can you climb these rocks in the back? No, you're stuck there. You're in prison. That's good. What do you want for terrain in here? You need at least 26% rock. That's annoying. Not gonna lie. So, in the back here, I'll make all of this rock so it blends better. Because up front in here, I don't want that to be rock. Nor over here do I want this to be rock. nor over here do I want this to be rock. Alright, they're still content with that. That's good. Environment. You can see a little bit of drin grass and nitraria poking in. You do not want a lot of plant coverage. I'll give you some trees here in the back. Sort by price descending, yeah. You could do big nitraria. Just shove it into the back of the rock here. That's always a winning strategy. And then intersperse it with the dry one a little bit. Then grab a smaller one, like 04. Shove it into some of the cracks on the rocks. And intersperse it with some dry ones as well. So you've got that going for you. I can afford to give you approximately one big tree in the back here. It's going to be a large Sudanese frankincense. Put that about right here. And then I can maybe give you the medium one over here. We're gonna hide the base of that with drain grass. Nice little bit of shade cover that this tree would provide. Give some plants a chance to grow in its shadow. Still don't like how rocky it is out in front here. But I can't really take more rock away from your habitat. I'd have to put it all inside your shelter, which also we're rebuilding the shelter. We just haven't gotten to it. Your enrichment is fine, but we should find like some feature locations to put it. Do I have a well? No. I would have to scratch build one. I don't really want to scratch build a well. So we want this to look a little open. You know what we could do is we could have sections of fence on the inside too. Maybe make it look like there's a little bit of farmland in here or something. So like here, but then one of these boards is broken. Like that board just kind of fell down. This board also just kind of fell down. And then there's also just another board that's like on the ground. So it's like there used to be a farm here, but there's not a farm here anymore. Something like that. And then can you give me... Well, actually drain grass is probably fine. We'll do a little bit of drain grass around this fence. But more than that, I wanted to make it look like there's like what used to be a crop here. Actually, you know what? They shouldn't line up. If I want to make it look like this shouldn't line up exactly with the board on the other side. It should look a little more dilapidated than that. It's like this should be down a little bit. And then these should probably connect into something. Yeah, that is looking like a properly run down fence. Let's make it a little lower than the fence on the outside as well. So select all of these groups. Select you, you, and you. But not you, because you're not supposed to be in that group. You, split. Select you and you. Advanced move. Just move all this down a little. Yeah, that is a rundown fence. Let's also give this one a little twist. This one as well. Just want it to look very banged up. And then what kind of plants do we have for the desert that might look like they were being grown, like cropped? Salt cedar's going to be too big. Coconut palm's probably going to be too big. You could maybe get aloe vera to look like that. So don't random rotate. Now, would donkeys eat this? Absolutely. But I think this is one of those times where we're just going to suspend our disbelief. I kinda like it. I kinda like that. And then can I duplicate you? No, but I can merge you into a group, and then I can duplicate and advanced move you. I just want a little bit more of a length of fence. Go like this, and then get into this group, and get rid of all of this. So it looks like it's a little fenced in. Do you have one of the... If you have the scarecrow feeder, I would be so happy. Oh, you do. 100% we put a scarecrow feeder over here. Because this is actually where a scarecrow would be. We can also move this herb scent marker to somewhere over there. And then roughen this terrain up a bit. Yeah, something like that. Alright, so we have like one little farm section. That's kind of fun. I would also like to rebuild their shelter. So, remove this. The shelter I'm going to keep really simple. Give me mud wall. Don't angle snap. Rotate around about like this. Then we're going to go 1, 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4. This wall is going to be slightly taller. Actually, we'll go 3. And then I want it to look like a lean-to, basically. So I'm going to put the roof in first. Or, and actually, thatch. Do I have a thatch roof of the angle that I want? I do. That's too steep of an elevation, though. Like, this is how I would want it to look. But that's way too tall. What if you made smaller separate buildings? What if you made something like this? Mud wall. One, two, three. by 2. And then you add a taller wall on the other side. What if you just made that? I like that quite a bit more. Although I don't like how these thatch roofs join into one another. Maybe you do flat on top? Like that. Maybe. Maybe I just don't like thatch roofs. Let's get our corrugated plastic out again. Can you give me a reasonable grid height here? Okay, and then you got mud wall. You have one more swing around that way. You go like that. You get the little mud wall decoration in there. You're gonna have to put trim on these roofs, but that's okay. You can do that. You also need, like, the inverted version of this? No, you don't need the inversion version of it. You just need a 1 meter. Like that. And then along the back wall, we'll have this be plain. Plain old wood. Stop favoriting them, just select them. So you would go here. Here. I guess we could also leave this wall plain. And then have this be the arch in, because it's got that nice beveling and texture at the bottom. You need to move this whole thing up by 1, and then I think you like that. Is this tall enough for a donkey to fit in? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Alright, so we'll probably make like 3 of these. Maybe 2. I don't think we need to go crazy. Please give me, like, if you're gonna make yourself be on the grid, then, like, be on the grid. Don't just say that you're a grid piece, and then when I ask you to adjust your height, you're like, ah, it doesn't really matter. I'll go anywhere you need me to go. Make your mind up. Might actually leave that open. It's maybe an important bit of airflow there. Slide you in here. And then we just have to do a little bit of trim on that, and we should be good to go. Could leave this open too, actually. Make it feel a little more airy and breezy inside this thing. So now we can slide you around to where we want you to go. We'll have one of them here. That's stable 1, and then we'll duplicate you. Rotate you a little bit like this. Pull you over to where this fence is. We could almost have it look like you're part of the same building, but I don't necessarily know that I want to do that. And then we'll have you be building 2. Grab your fence piece. Duplicate an advanced move. Actually, probably don't even need to do that. You just need to put a fence here. This is going to shrink the size of your habitat pretty dramatically, though. Well, maybe it won't. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's done. We'll see what it says when it's all done. You come all the way to the back. And then to here. And then to here. And then to here. And then to here. You can come back like that. We'll just put a mud wall. Doesn't even need to be fence. Then it kind of looks like these buildings are joined without having to do the actual work of joining. Although I bet a donkey could just jump that. I don't think I love it, but I also don't hate it. So let's get some trim in. Primitive shape. Primitive... Not primitive cube, I want the primitive rectangle. So, yeah, this thing. Primitive cuboid. That's the one. You are not aligned to that surface, though. So let's make sure that you're aligned to the surface. Then we'll pull you up to where we want the trim to actually go. Rotate you into place. So you're just barely covering the metal edge of this roof. Do I have a thinner one? Maybe I do want to use the thin primitive rectangle. Because I don't want it to come out that far. So you'll go to here. I think I can live with that. Also, now you can definitely let this run. Get some habitat bedding in here for them, though. So that they know that this is where they're supposed to sleep. Is that sufficient hard shelter for you? Not quite. So you're gonna need to make a third one. No, not necessarily. For now, you can just go somewhere else. Let me finish this trim. And then we'll worry about what we're going to do. This is not the right color. Actually, you know what? This is your opportunity to add a bit of color coding to this exhibit. So The Somali Wild Ass obviously is named after Somalia, but I'm pretty sure if you go to Zoopedia, its range of distribution is actually mostly in Eritrea, I think is where that is. Possibly Djibouti. Let me look at a map quick. That area is... That's actually mostly in Ethiopia. So Ethiopia flag colors are green, yellow, and red. I wonder how tacky it would look to do this. It's a darker green than that. That's about right. Duplicate to here. So green is on top, and then yellow's in the middle. This is... that's too bright. It's roughly like that, I would say. And then duplicate again. And then make you red. You got that one. So would this be tacky? To make the trim all like this color? I don't actually think so. I think that's kind of fine. And then green. Green out here to the end. Let's get it to be roughly even. Like that. Split this from the group. Yeah, and now it's its own roof trim. Good. Give me a post. Painted post. Beam painted. There you are. That's what I was looking for. We'll add a bit of wood trim to the structure. You don't need it to be that big. 4 meter will be just fine. Maybe you take on that nice sandy brown color. We'll have another post here at the back. And then for this spot, this is where we use the decorative strip, my beloved. This is such a neat little piece of wood. So you're going to come up here. You are going to mask the metal roof texture up here. And I'll just pull you all the way along. And then we'll grab our beam square painted. And we'll have the beam square painted cover this little bit of mud in front. You're going to have to run it all the way down the building if you want to do that. That's fine, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll get you to just barely cover this. Change your color. And then I'm not exactly sure what function these would serve. But it feels right to put them in. It's just an extra way of keeping things out of this building, so that like nothing too big can get in. Come and bother my donkeys. It is going to make it look a little bit like a jail, but I think them's the breaks, kind of. I definitely don't want to make them like metal color. Probably also not blue. That's fine. And then if I could get them a little more centered, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. So now, enter group edit mode, kill these. Split this whole group. Grab everything on this side. Not you. And you, and this. And you. I duplicate more than one building at a time, but why? Is it because I grouped you? I really don't want to have to split that group up. Fine, we'll do it. And then if I select this, deselect this, deselect these, and deselect that. Now can I duplicate you? I still can't duplicate you. Oh, I could save you as a blueprint though. I think I'm gonna have to do that. We're gonna call this temporary Somali Wild Ass shelter. Create. Description. Temp. Tag. Oh my god. Sure, call it an ATM. So now if I go facilities, guest facilities, if I just search temp, there we go. All right, so I take this thing, spin it around this way, and then I just line it up to the rest of this building. Then I have what will hopefully be a hard shelter requirement completion. Although it is going to get mad about these walls not joining. You're just gonna have to build it on the other side. The way that you want this to work is not going to work. So I can duplicate here, but not here. And not there. Well, duplicate this. Is it because it's not part of a group anymore? I have prevented this from being a group, and now I can't get the group back. That's very sad. Maybe okay, you know what? Out of necessity, we may just have to leave this like this. I don't think there's any way for me to recombine this into a group. I have erred grievously. Is it too late to undo? It's not too late to undo. Oh, thank God. Kill these. I can duplicate it without trim. That's fine. That's totally fine. Because now I can go into group edit mode. And I can duplicate this. Oh, I see why it's angry. Gotcha. Okay. That's why it didn't want to let me do it. So duplicate you over here. This middle wall can go. Duplicate you over here. Yeah, this is the way we're gonna have to do it. No, this will work fine. Here and here. Duplicate this to here. Duplicate this whole wall. Duplicate this wall. Without that. And then duplicate this. Grab this. Grab this. Yeah, so this is now our donkey shelter. I really don't like how these intrude in, but it's okay, I'll live. And then I can exit this group. And I can select you, all of you. And then both of you and you. Merge you into a group. Duplicate you. Spin you 90. Just pull you over to the other side of the building now. Until you sit where I want you to sit. Which is basically right here. So we have a little bit of trim that we could clean up on the front. Obviously the back is looking a little plain. But the upshot, and obviously all of our null barriers are wrong. But the upshot is that I can now duplicate this building very easily. And we'll just make a second one to fulfill our hard shelter requirements. Show me barriers. I'll just follow the barriers for this. In you go. So the second one will probably go over here. Or maybe that's enough hard shelter. It is enough hard shelter. Alright, I only need one then. And you have your hay in there, so that's fine. Yeah, I'll clean up the rest of that roof trim later on. I'm not going to do that right now. That's something that I could do, you know, off camera. It's just going to be pretty tedious. We can sink this into the ground. Now that this is starting to become finalized. You're not currently showing... Wait a minute, were you showing the right animal? No, you weren't either. Somali Wild Ass. Speaking of, has had offspring. Scimitar Horned Oryx, expecting offspring. Somali Wild Ass. Oh my god, I love that they come and hang out in the garden. I really like that they come and investigate the garden like that. That's very fun. And then you, Somali Wild Ass. And then you, move down. Caracal's about to mate. It's all happening. Breed 2 animals. The other thing that I can do now that I have this habitat finalized is I can take my rough rock brush and I can turn everything inside here into rock because guests can't see in here. More importantly, I can't see in here. And then all this stuff outside can start changing to sand. So now we're thinking areas of visual interest, right? We have a scarecrow feeder over here. We'll do a hanging feeder over here, back in the mountains. Could also move your water pipe back here. What other kinds of areas of visual interest would we want to put in? I could give them a small rock feature. That wouldn't be the end of the world. We can also put some of this nitraria near the rocks at the edges of a habitat. Like, you can go here. Maybe with another Sudanese frankincense. Just a small one. And then same thing over on the other side. Something like that. But what I would like to do is just have some kind of interesting thing here. I can paint it out in terrain and show you. I'd like to have some kind of area of visual interest in this region. And I don't exactly know what it is, and I don't want it to be rock. I might have to think on that and figure out what exactly I want it to be. Because right now, this exhibit is looking a little too plain for my tastes. We'll let it run for a bit and see what guests think of it. I also want to change this into something. Can I get, like, mulch? Maybe this can just look like dirt. 4x4? It's gonna be too big. 2x2 might still be a little too big. Can I get a 1x1? Yeah. It's not necessarily that I'm going to plant anything here. Also, you should use the bottom of the mulch, because that's got a very large curve on the top of it. Yeah, that's much better. Also, this isn't currently set to be Somali Wild Ass. There you go. Yeah, just have this be a little bit of dirt. Maybe we plant grass in here, maybe. Yeah, I think we do. Buffalo. And random rotation on for this. Scimitar Horned Oryx is about to inbreed. We need to stop that from happening. But let's get this done first. Ife is about to inbreed. Scimitar Horned Oryx. Animals. Zoo. Animals. Filter. Scimitar. Yeah, it's time for you to go back on contraceptives. Possibly time... Africa grassland. Wait a minute. How are you going to inbreed? Oh, right, because you were born in Empirical Sahara. Dude, here's what we do. This is what we do. We check and see if we have any Scimitar Horned Oryxes in animal trading. Male ones. Show me a male Scimitar Horned Oryx. None? Okay. We're gonna leave we're gonna leave Salim on contraceptives. As soon as I see a male Scimitar Horned Oryx in the trading center, I'm gonna trade him And I'm also going to trade out my older scimitar horned oryxes, and we're going to use that new generation to breed them a bit. How are you feeling about your plant cover? We're actually getting close to max plant cover already. That's kind of scary. Dude, maybe it's fine that you just have a plain exhibit. This does look like this mostly looks how I wanted it to look in my mind's eye. It's super open. It feels super airy. It's like there's just donkeys wandering around in a part of the zoo that we weren't particularly using. So I am happy with how that came out, and maybe I just lean into that. Not everything has to be super maximalist, I guess. Let's finish putting in the rest of our food. Line it up to about here. Sink it into the ground. Sandcat is at offspring. Asabi's about to die of old age. I'll go ahead and release you. Even though I don't think we have to worry about the Sandcat yet, because they don't mind as long as it's offspring, but when that Sandcat matures, we're gonna have to get rid of one of them. But also, they really don't like having other animals around in general, so the Sandcats now need to go on power receptors too. Both of you. Wow, big litter. 3 of them. Very good news. And then it's May. How is guest thirst looking? Significantly improved. We're back into mostly green happiness, which is good. And we have a lot more green visitors wandering around. Can I see how many times these have been used? 16 times? 7 times? They don't turn a profit, though. It's fine. 29 times? Is that per month? It's per year, okay. Not sure why income isn't getting counted. Maybe I have to wait for it to update until next year. And then over here is for the latest badge that I put in. 76 times. Good lord. 115 times. Alright, that's where people are thirsty. But I think once this food court goes in, that'll alleviate a lot of the demand on those 2 machines. So not super worried about that right now, I don't think. This is really open down here. Like on this side. I need to figure out like some theming to put there. But honestly, that's pretty much all I wanted to accomplish with this. It feels like the last couple of Planet Zoo episodes we have gone kind of long. The last couple have been like 2 or 3 hours. I think this one's only going to be like an hour and a half, which is kind of nice. We can get you a normal animal feeder in here. Filters by species. You can just have a medium food trough. Alina is preventing other animals from breeding. So what we're going to do for the second half of this year is we're just going to manage animals. So Alina is too old to breed. It's time for you to go. We can't quick trade or release you to the wild. I'm going to send you to the trade center, and then maybe I can do something with you from there. But that should allow Amira to become the alpha female, and then you two shouldn't be related because you're both from Frontier Zoo. Yeah, okay. So the fennec fox pack is not that big, and we probably need a new adult male and female in there in the first place. So they're both kind of old. Fennec fox. 4.7 years, 4.2 years. Let's do that, and I'm just going to leave them in my animal vault so that I can save them for later. Also, apparently I have a ton of Hamadryas baboons in here too. Oh, they're waiting for a male. I wanted to try and get a second male in. Hamadryas. Bingo. We'll take you. Send a zoo. That is not where I wanted to deliver you. Do not put him in with the hyenas. Yeah, do not relocate to spotted hyena. Cancel that move. That would be a very bad idea. What I'd like to do is send all 6 of you to quarantine. There you go. And how are guests feeling about Somali Wild Ass? They wish they could have stayed longer. The view is fine. And the view is good. Research is proceeding. Sacred Scarabeo 4. Still working on African Spurred Tortoise as well. American Standard Donkey's about to mate. It's probably about time to stop them from doing that. Habiba is about to die of old age. Yeah, we're about to lose all of our, I guess this is an Adax. It's not a Scimitar Horned Oryx. But a lot of our ungulates in the arid Sahara section are starting to age out. I could quick trade you. Yeah, I'll just quick trade you. Good. We'll also take a look at our budget here shortly, because we've been spending a lot of money for the last 2 years on things. You guys hanging out? You having a good time? It's a good view for the guests from here. Keep making these fences look even more rundown. Staff are queuing to use the quarantine. That's fine. I know that that quarantine gets overwhelmed. It's okay. Spurred Tortoise 6. Is this the one that gives you all of the enrichment items we were missing? We already knew what a ton of these were. How is your enrichment status in here? Animal's too hot. Wait, animal's too hot. Really? What is your temperature range? 13 to 38, and it gets up to 43. Huh. I guess you don't really have any spots for shade here either, huh? Wonder if I could make them like a little shady pavilion. How much free moving space do you have in here? 271 out of 235. I could make you something very small. Shade? No. Thatch? That's a little big. I could give you one of these. We'd go like this, and then mud, architecture, mud wall, floor, and then mud wall. can go like here, here, and here. And then you would give me painted. You'd snap to everything and angle snap, and maybe just use a brace. Yeah, I'll use a brace. Sink the brace down a bit. Maybe have it line up with these things on the inside. And then in the back, you can have it line up with these things. And then just grab these two. Slide them over to this side. And then where's a climbing piece of wood? Enrichment items, all. Climbable platform. 4x2. Rotate. Rotate. Tilt down by 1. Have it sit like right there. And then sink this whole thing into the ground. Ideally without burying your turtle. So you sit here, and we have like a little nice turtle shelter, and then we can also hide a cooler in here. So that you can't actually see it. Or maybe like just barely see it. Your temperature range is going to be like 30. And your range is going to be 8. So how much does that screw with your traversable area? 251 out of 235. Really, like, hitting the margins on that one, but it works. And they have a fun little house. Like, I can give you an enrichment item to put in there, too. A food enrichment item, ideally. To put a dog ball. It's not sufficient food enrichment for them. They need so much food enrichment. I think you're just going to have to deal. Also, you need to get your donkeys onto birth control. It's starting to get crazy in there. There you go. Alright. Let's do a general wellness check of animals in the zoo, shall we? It's August. I don't think we've ever done it. What's wrong? What's your problem? Why are they sad? Shabana, what's wrong? Social stress. But oh, you know what? Maybe they're not using this because it's not hard shelter. Maybe that's why they're not incentivized to come back here. I actually bet I can fix that. Can I just grab one of the thatch covers that I used over here? Duplicate it. And put it here. Would that be enough to make you feel like you could come back here for some rest and relaxation? Also, just tilt you a bit. Put you at a fun angle. So that you're really hidden from guest eyes. Let's see if that gets them to come over. Because I gave them this space where they can't be seen. Is there a heat map that I can use to look at that? Shelter. So I see it as valid shelter. Predicted area visibility. I want to see the inside habitat visibility. I don't think I can see that. Guest needs? No, that's not going to be it. Buildings? That's probably not going to be it. I don't think I can see whether an animal is currently seen or not. So we're just going to have to hub. Now you're coming over to use it. Dania, you're having a great time. Can you tell your parents to also come over here to, like, get away from being seen by guests? Because I don't think they really seem to understand. Guests think tickets are underpriced. How about we go to 2818? Anyway, ad axes. Besides that problem, how are ad axes doing? We can go to grade 3 food quality for you to keep you a little happier. See guest thoughts. It's not animal encounters, train environment animals. Where do I see guest thoughts? Am I losing my mind? Zoo? I thought there was like, oh, habitats, there we go. AdX. Good view of the AdX from here. Look at that magnificent AdX. Alright, AdXs are doing great. Scimitar Horned Oryx. 3 alerts. What's your problem? Social stress. You have a place that you can go inside. And you'll be okay. I just need you to do that. Besides that, sometimes the view is fine, sometimes the view is good. Environment looks fine. I think you guys are doing good. Sandcats. Seeing a sandcat is awesome. Sandcat is fine. Oh, food for you as well. What's your food at? Grade 1? I can go to grade 3. We should be able to afford that. Yeah, we're making... Well, we're not going to make as much money this year as we did last year, but we're still at 26. We're probably going to end at like 30,000 profit. That's still more than enough. This, your barriers are all wrong. Let's fix these while we're over here. This is where the old exhibit used to be before we adjusted the boundaries of it. So you come to here, and then back through here, over to here, over to here, and then back over to here. Obstructed. Oh, there you go. Alright, that's modified sandcat. Sandcats are mostly happy. Last meal quality wasn't great. And you're a little low on food enrichment. Can I give you one more food enrichment? You could have a scale feeder. Give you a little scale feeder over here. That puts you to 17. I'll give you a second skittle feeder inside. There you go. And then your food quality, we can bump up to 3. You're a cheap date. We can afford that. Turtles. Good view of the turtle from here. Turtles are not feeling great. Animal's too hot. She's struggling to get up there, but she can do it. Kinda. Should maybe give them a ramp to get up this a bit. Let's do that quick. They're having a very hard time navigating that. Habitat, enrichment items, climbable. Give me a little 1x1 platform. 2x1 platform? Yeah, 2x1 platform. That's what you want. Here you go. You guys have a little log path that you can use to climb up this now. Pull this around. Move this up a bit. There we go. That should make that a little easier to traverse for you. I don't think you need the same thing for the water pipe because it's much closer to the ground. Is that the only complaint that you had? Temperature, low food enrichment as well. I'll give you a little bit more food enrichment. You can have a melon as well. Right up here at the front. Everybody can have a fun time watching you eat your melon. Shabana is about to die. Send you to Trade Center. Alright, back to doing animal wellness. Besides that, yeah, tortoises are not dramatically improved. You are hungry, but a keeper should be on the way shortly. Everybody has a nice view of you. We can move you up to grade 3. Our fennec foxes. Good view. Cherish its memory forever. Low on food. Rashad is too old. But I can bump you up to grade 3. Doesn't really cost us anything extra. And then camels. How are the camels doing? View is fine. View is good. All of my camels are very happy. Move you to grade 3. And striped tigers. View is good, view is fine. I'm impressed that there's no view is bad, considering how long this habitat is. Like, most people up here aren't going to be able to view them if they're over here. And I don't have better feed unlocked for it. Alright, so for the most part, we're doing okay. We had a couple minor wellness issues, but we got them taken care of at least. Because we can do a little bit more work on this trim if we're just going to be sitting around. That's not the way you're supposed to go. There you go. Let's get just the right angle in here. Is not quite the right angle. We'll need a little more. I can live with that. Pull it up a little bit so it joins up here exactly. Good. This needs to be red. This needs to be green. Yeah, you knew that was coming. We'll just have to change the color manually. It's okay. Yellow. And then we'll do the same thing from the other side. That research is complete. I actually care about that. Let's go take a look at what that is. After I get this angle right so I don't have to do it again. Yeah, that's the angle you want. This to join up here. Good. Yellow. Duplicate. Red. Duplicate. Green. And then take this, this. Split it from its group. Take this. Oh, you wanted one more after that. Never mind. You duplicate. You go up to here. There you go. It's also not exactly right. Looks like it's closer to that. Yeah, okay. Then you take these. You split that from their group. You take these. You split these from their group. You combine these two groups, and then you duplicate, and you pull them to the back. You get them to line up with the trim back here. And then I'll do the top trim later on. But I think, like, I don't want to make it look like it is an Ethiopian exhibit. I just want to acknowledge the fact that, like, there are Somali wild asses in Ethiopia. So I think that's a way of doing it that's not too loud. Let's get started on research for Somali Wild Ass now that you are done. It feels like our research is finally catching up for the first time, and that's very exciting. Our research has been consistently lagging behind the rate at which we've been buying animals. I could even put a third vet onto this. Like, why don't you get onto the striped hyena? And you can get onto the American Standard Donkey, because that's what we're going to work on next. So what did you get out of rank 6? Even more food enrichment. A fruit spike tree. Oh, I really want to put a fruit spike tree. They'll love that. Yeah, you can put that like right in the center. And now they finally have enough food enrichment. Great news. Foxes matured. Yeah, they're doing fine over here. It's a very empty exhibit, but we'll get to it eventually. I also need to decor this up a little bit. We have room for another building here. If we wanted to put a research center in, we could do it there. Oh, also this could go. Don't need that. I think I like how this turned out. I need to come up with some kind of hider back here, because this line of sight directly into the staff buildings is something that I want to break up. We may do a larger rock structure back there that's not actually a boundary for the Somali Wild Ass, but is behind it. And they jumped the fence. Oh, this is... You know what? I actually think I like this. I actually think I like this a lot. I think this came out great. The fact that they can hop around on the fence and they've got a whole bunch of different movement that they can make while they're in there is really cool. Let's go take care of this persistent fennec fox issue, where all of our fennec foxes are too old. So what's wrong with you, Zishan? Trying to hide? Just go hide. It's not that hard. Fennec fox. So the problem is that all of you are too old. I need to get rid of all of these. We need to restart our Fennec Fox exhibit. So we move you and you into quarantine. We take our Hamadryas baboons out of quarantine. Because they should be cleared now. Yeah, they're all cleared. You're gonna come in here. I like that these guys just sit around on the wood. Hanging out. So we'll get 6 more of them in there. And then once our fennec foxes pass this quarantine, then we'll restart our fennec fox exhibit. Because all of them just aged out too quickly. So you... You I need to like... Why can't I just get rid of you? Rehome. Yes. Rehome. Yes. Oh, because you're pregnant. Alright, you have to go back in. What do you mean invalid destination? There you go. Yeah, alright, you have to go back in, and then you're getting rehomed as well. Or quick trading, whichever. And that is January 1 of year 14. So that's where we're going to be done. Our fennec foxes are not quite out of quarantine, but we're going to get that taken care of next time. And the fact that we finished up this Somali Wild Ass exhibit so fast is nice, because it enabled us to do some very important animal maintenance on some other sections of the zoo. I'm going to have a little bit of a think of how I might want to fill some of this space in. I do want this exhibit in general to feel like it has more of a human influence on it, bringing it a little closer to something like the dromedary camel exhibit, where we've got, like, you know, some building ruins and stuff like that in it, some shade spots. And honestly, I may just take one of these buildings, group it, and put it over into this exhibit as well. But I'll have a think on that, and I'll see. I may try and build some kind of, like, little ruined farmhouse here as well, since we have this little farm aesthetic going on here. But that's going to do it for Empirical Sahara this time. Next, we are going to take a crack at this American Standard Donkey exhibit. It is going to look very similar to the Somali Wild Ass exhibit, because I want to draw parallels between the fact that they're both donkeys. And then we're going to keep working our way around the back of the zoo, into where the caracals are, taking a quick stop at the red foxes, and then finally ending on the Hamadryas baboon. So, if you want to make sure that you find those videos when they come out, best way to do that would be to make sure you are subscribed to the channel and that you have notifications turned on. You can also join my Discord if you would like to get pings for when these videos go live in the future. There is a YouTube long form pings that you can give yourself so that you will only hear about when Empirical Sahara and other edited videos are going out rather than every single vlog. And if you have any feedback about the way that we've set up the Somali Wild Ass, or some general zoo maintenance tasks that we could be taking care of here, because things are getting a little unwieldy. This is really starting to expand into a proper size zoo at this point. Leave a note in the comments. Let me know what you think I should be focusing on. Let me know what you think I should be working on to make sure the zoo continues to run efficiently and effectively. But till then, I've been Chef. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.